You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, 21st day of May, 2025. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. Excuse me. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first live broadcast, that's our live training room. So to get in there, you either have to be a member or taking your 1-week free trial. Now, if you haven't taken your 1-week free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com. At the top of the page, there's a big purple button. You can't miss it. I think it even says click here. So click the purple button, fill out the form, hit submit. We'll get your indicators up and indicating today. Your trial will officially start tomorrow, and you will get 5 consecutive days, 5 consecutive trading days on the trial. The weekend does not count against you. So, what better time than now to take your trial if you haven't taken it, because you'll have a couple days over the weekend to kind of get familiar with the indicators. Some markets trade over the weekend. But anyway, Michael will go into more detail about taking the trial when he joins us in a bit. Now, I said we do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. This is the second broadcast, the noon broadcast. And unlike the morning broadcast, this broadcast is open to the public. That's everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only got to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com, and this time scroll down the page to where it says noon broadcast. Click that link, fill out that 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In the email, there will be a link. So at 12 noon Eastern every day, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it'll automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there, you'll have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days that you're out of the office, away from the desktop, for whatever reason. Maybe you're even on vacation, but you still want to join live. And there'll be days when you're busy, can't join live, but want to get caught up later. Well, the good news is you can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is very easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. It's the Christian Financial Radio Network, but you don't have to remember all that. Just youtube.com/CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,800 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. If you're new to the world of CFRN, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. And thanks to the power of YouTube, you can actually see how we've evolved over the years. You can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Now, obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to watch them all. But it's a great resource to have at your fingertips. And it lets you know we've been around a minute. I think you could probably call it 2 minutes at this point. 2,800 daily episodes, over 2,800, at your fingertips. So, let's jump into our daily devotional. This is our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. Michael will join us in about an hour, and he'll give us a recap of the live training room. Then we'll do some live trading on the TradingView platform. We are starting a new topic for our devotional today. For the last 2 weeks, the topic has been after the cross. We did Holy Week, we did Easter, we did after the cross, and our 5-day devotional plan, starting today, at His feet, choosing what's best in a busy world. Today's scripture is John 21, verse 25, and I'll be sharing it from the Message translation. There are so many other things Jesus did. If they were all written down, each of them, one by one, I can't imagine a world big enough to hold such a library of books. That's a big statement, yeah? Again, that was John 21, verse 25. So day 1, real relationship. There are countless books that remark on the characteristics of God, our understanding of God in relation to our lives, how to use our God-given gifts. It's a long list. Something we mustn't skip, though, or feel to be irrelevant or less important, is the simple seeking of our Savior. I say simple, but sometimes that's so far from the truth, isn't it? Sometimes one of the hardest things to do is sit at Jesus' feet and be still, to worship Him, to adore Him. This devotional is all about the how and why of the study of God Himself, not as some form of dry study for study's sake, but because our relationship with Jesus is the most important we'll ever have. I don't propose to be able to cover it all in one devotional, but I do want to give us a foundation from which we can continually draw strength. As we go through these few days together, you'll note that the so-called study of God isn't a means to an end or a box to be ticked, but the very lifeblood of what makes us who we are. The closer we get to God, the more we'll understand ourselves. We're made in His image, after all. And so it makes sense that in knowing our Creator more intimately, we allow ourselves to be more fully known. What's incredible, though, is that is just a bonus, an add-on, a free gift. Because as I pray, you'll discover as you go through this study what is of most value in the seeking of our Savior is that we might actually find Him. As we read in Acts 17:26, He's not far from us. And my prayer as we go through these next few days together is that as we sit at His feet, we'll know that is true. And a question for you, something you might even want to journal. What does the idea of being fully known by God bring up for you? And there's a great contemporary Christian song. It's been out for a few years. I'm trying to think of the young man who sings it. He has an incredible voice. And that's part of the lyrics. Fully known by God. In fact, known might be the name of the song. I'll try to check on it by tomorrow and share it with you. It's an awesome song. All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, your works are more than we could ever count, and your goodness knows no end. Thank you for all you've done, both the seen and the unseen, in our lives and in the world. Fill our hearts with awe and gratitude, and help us to live each day in wonder of who you are. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen and happy Wednesday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently, the Dow is down 320 points. The Nasdaq's up 88. S&P 500 is down 7. And the one that really has my attention here, the Russell 2000, down 21 points, which is exactly 1%. Or pretty close. Now, we'll talk about the whole mixed market scenario in a minute. In the commodity basket, crude oil's off by 19 cents, trading 61.84 last. Gold's up $29, trading 33.13 last. That's a gain of almost 1%. Silver up 45 cents, trading 33.62 last. That's a gain of almost 1.5%. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei fell 230 points. Shanghai rose 7. The Hang Seng gained 146. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 5. The DAX up 86. The CAC down 31. So it was a mixed day in Asia. It was a mixed day for the UK. And at the moment, it's a mixed Radio Wednesday here in the US of A. We got three of the major indices in the red, but the NASDAQ's in the green. But it's only by 84 points, and for the NQ, that is not a lot. So we'll find out over the course of the broadcast who's going to play follow the leader. But you know, I've been talking endlessly about how overdue we are for a retracement back to the BBC on the daily chart. So when we get to the charts, we'll talk about that. When we have mixed markets like this, we like to see the major indices, let them be all red or let them be all green. That's when you get better follow through on your trades, whatever you're trading. When they're mixed, however, there's a little bit of a tug of war going on. So you may not get until that NASDAQ flips into the red, if it does. And based on what the Russell's doing, I think it may. But we'll see. All right. News. We got news. The UK paused trade negotiations with Israel yesterday, citing concerns over the recent escalation of the war in Gaza. The announcement came alongside new sanctions targeting Israeli settlers and organizations accused of attacking Palestinian communities in the West Bank. Now, the news followed an 11-week blockade, triggering severe supply shortages, famine warnings across Gaza. Israeli officials told aid agencies Sunday that around 100 trucks per day would be allowed in from Monday to Friday, roughly 1/5 of the pre-war average. Gaza's health ministry, which does not distinguish between civilians and militants, says more than 53,000 people have been killed since the conflict began in October 2023. It's been going on that long. Yeah. And when's it going to end? Depending upon how you read your Bible, it never will. So, but we pray it does. A New Orleans jail maintenance worker was arrested Monday for helping 10 inmates escape last week. The 33-year-old employee, who says he acted under duress, shut off water in a jail cell, allowing inmates to remove a toilet and sink fixture, dig a hole, and flee. Before leaving, they scrawled messages on the cell wall, like "We innocent" and "Too easy, LOL." They used the wrong "to." They used T-O. It should have been T-O-O. But I guess when you're trying to escape from prison, proper spelling's not at the top of your list. The inmates, ages 19 to 42, were being held in Orleans Parish Jail on charges including murder and armed robbery. After escaping through a hole in the cell, the inmates ran down a flight of stairs, scaled the prison wall, and fled on foot on Interstate 10. Now, 4 have since been recaptured. A search for the 6 others is ongoing. The escape, which went undetected for hours, how does this happen, is believed to be among the largest in Louisiana's history. Orleans Parish Jail has been under a federal consent decree since 2013, designed to address conditions including overcrowding and understaffing. Observers say some areas of the jail have gone unsupervised for hours. Well, I pray I never get locked up, but if I do, well, anyway. from Bloomberg. Let's go to Wall Street. When CFRA's Paige Meyer slapped a sell rating on United Health Group in February, she was the lone analyst out of 30 tracked by Bloomberg with a negative view of the company. Hang on a minute. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm back. Meyer's price target, implying a 22% fall for the shares, glared in a sea of optimistic forecast, while her warnings on regulatory uncertainty and high medical expenses seemed almost alarmist. The health insurance giant was, after all, an industry bellwether that was widely considered a safe bet by Wall Street, even as it faced rising costs and was recovering from the murder of a top executive last year. You remember the CEO who was shot in the street, and the progressive left saw him as a hero. He was like the Messiah. They stood outside the jail and said, "Set him free, set him free." I mean, we had it on tape, on video. There was no question he shot the man in the back. If you're going to shoot a man, have the stones to look him in the face. He just shot him. Now, we've all had unhappy experiences with insurance companies. If you're older than 21, I had a big issue the other day with my insurance that I canceled months ago because I found better insurance at a better price. So that's fair, right? I get a letter from a collection agency telling me I still owe them less than $100. They didn't call me. They didn't email me. They just sent me to collections for less than $100. So, you know me. I called them up, blew my top, shamed myself, and then just paid the money. I don't have time or the money to spend in court, paying attorneys $300 an hour over a $100 bill. Now, if it dings my credit rating, they'll probably get another call from me. And by God's grace, I'll be a little more civil. President Trump has taken aim at least 4 retailers in recent weeks over possible tariff price hikes, with an effort that, for now at least, is largely about applying public pressure to CEOs. "I'll be watching," he told Walmart, with harsh words also directed towards Amazon, Ford, and Mattel. There are also hints Trump could do more than just watch, with additional tariffs threatened in one instance and an array of additional tools at the president's disposal if he decides to escalate further. He's telling these massively profitable companies to eat the tariff, and I think he's 100% right. Bitcoin surged above $109,200 to hit a new high today, driven by bullish momentum and a strengthening regulatory outlook for crypto. The token has jumped more than 40% since falling to around $76,000 in early April, as the broader market rebounded after President Trump partially rolled back his tariff policy. Sean Farrell, head of digital asset strategy at Fundstrat, said in a client note Monday, "I think the market is now in default by the dip mode, whereas a couple of months ago, the market was certainly in sell the rip mode. Bitcoin's record comes on the heels of a key procedural victory in the Senate on Monday night for a bill to regulate stablecoins. These are cryptocurrencies tied to assets like the US dollar. The measure could face a final vote as early as this week. And for those of us who have an interest in crypto, that's what we've been asking for. Gary Gensler, the former SEC guy, we begged him for some rules, some regulations, so we could build our businesses around them. And they call him No Claire Gary. No Claire Gare. Because he would not provide clarity. He's out of office, and that's a good thing. Well, moving from crypto to bond markets, the jitters are back. And this time it's not just about inflation. Long-term Treasury yields surged to kick off the week as Moody's U.S. credit downgrade reignited market concerns over the country's worsening fiscal trajectory. On Monday, the 30-year Treasury yield briefly broke above the closely watched 5% threshold, the highest level since 2023, before retreating to around 4.9% as the bond market ultimately shrugged off the downgrade. But the pullback didn't last. Yields ticked higher again Tuesday, and by this morning, the 30-year was back above that closely watched 5% mark. Since bond prices move inversely to yields, rising yields indicate investors are selling bonds. This behavior runs counter to the typical flight to safety response during market turmoil and has fueled worries of a broader sell America trade. Wall Street analysts say the volatility reflects a shift in investor sentiment as recent optimism around trade developments gives way to renewed concern over the nation's ballooning debt. And while markets initially shrugged off the credit downgrade, analysts caution the bond market is not out of the woods, pointing to rising fiscal uncertainty, stubborn inflation as key factors likely to keep long-term yields volatile in the short run. The gauge of the US dollar fell to its lowest mark in a month as traders awaited a group of 7 meeting this week for any signs that the Trump administration is seeking a weaker U.S. currency. The Bloomberg Dollar Spot Index dropped 0.4% on Wednesday, today, its third straight decline. Options markets reflected the shift, with one-month sentiment turning the most bearish in 5 years as concerns over the U.S. budget deficit lingered. Man, why don't they just pass this one big beautiful bill and get it over with? Oh, and while you're at it, lower the rates. Come on. From Bloomberg, oil swung on a CNN report that Israel is preparing to potentially strike Iranian nuclear facilities. Now that's big news. While traders assess data showing an increase in U.S. crude stockpiles. Yeah, we're trying to refill our strategic reserve, which the previous administration drained. West Intermediate traded near 62 a barrel after government data showed that U.S. crude inventories rose to 443.2 million barrels, the highest since July. What do I say? Drill, baby, drill. We got more liquid gold under our feet than any country on earth. And last, from Bloomberg, conservative hardliners threaten to block Republicans' massive tax and spending package, jeopardizing passage of Donald Trump's signature economic legislation. Ultra-conservatives lashed out shortly after House Speaker Mike Johnson announced he had an agreement with lawmakers from high-tax states to increase the limit on the deduction for state local taxes to $40,000. I need to move to some state that doesn't have state taxes. Gosh, everybody retires and moves to Arizona, but don't they realize they're just going to get ripped? Ultra-conservative Representative Andy Harris of Maryland said Wednesday morning the Trump administration promised them in a midnight deal deeper cuts in Medicaid and faster elimination of Biden-era clean energy tax breaks. I'm sorry, but that's a pay grade above the speaker, Harris said. Which Harris we talking about here? Harris said the bill doesn't reflect the agreement and hardliners will block the package if it comes to a vote. Fellow hardliner Ralph Norman of South Carolina said if the bill doesn't have the votes, the bill doesn't have the votes, it's not even close. The White House didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. Johnson said there is a chance the package could come to a vote today. Come on, guys, be Americans. You know, you're duly elected by the people, for the people, and you need to get your head out of your backside, get this bill through. Jerome, you need to get the rates lowered, and the golden age can begin. We've never been so close. But these rhinos, Republicans, in name only, may be the actual ones who destroy the whole thing for everybody. It's just very disheartening. All right, I have some better news. On the local home front, Logic 247, that is our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. Not just E-minis, but also crude, gold, silver. Currently in week 355, and over the last 355 weeks, we've issued over 19,600 individual handcrafted alerts. In fact, tonight we may hit 19,700. We're getting real close to that big 20,000 round number, okay? But you've still got over 300 alerts to use them as they're intended, to learn how to read a chart. If you're ever going to be a trader, you gotta learn to read the chart. Valerie did the recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. At the time of the recap, since the markets opened this past, and let me mention that of the 19,600 plus alerts, we've averaged on a weekly basis for 355 weeks, 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure. And a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. So this week, since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued a total of 47 alerts. 2 never triggered. Still waiting on the outcome of 15. That gives us 30 actionable alerts, of which 4 or 13% would have been stopped out based on market structure and the simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Every logic alert has an entry price, an initial target, quite often additional targets, and a final trade to target. Whether you actually trade the alert or not, use the information to learn to read the chart. All you need is a 30-minute chart, the alert, and hopefully you know how to draw a horizontal line on your chart. Now, the logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session, and vice versa. So last week we finished off with, I forget, down around 7% for the week. So this week, well, we still got the rest of the day, Thursday and Friday, so we'll see where we end up, but 13%, I can live with that. Okay. Now let us go to the charts of which I speak. Starting out, of course, with the daily chart of the S&P 500 Emini futures. We were in a downtrend, leg retrace, and then we failed to put in a lower low. So now you can look at it like leg retrace, leg, and you see how the step line's peeling away from blue and climbing? Now we had a red candle earlier in the day, but buyers came in off the Wall Street open and pushed the thing back up. Is this the place we make the turn? I wish I could tell you. But based on this, I mean, we know that price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is simply green, and it's called the BBC. Stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. Now, notice that the pullback to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. But eventually it trades through. Just like over here, pulling down from above. It held, and it held, and it held. And then it finally traded through and led to all this. Here, on the way down, the pullback held, the pullback held, the pullback held, and then it finally traded through. Sent us off in a different direction. And notice this pullback here. It held. So, you know, as I look at this now, how many days? You know what? I'm going to have to figure that out another time. You see, I'm looking at this area here compared to this area here. Well, whatever. We're still due, okay? Now, just because we're due doesn't make it happen. So, also, the daily chart is important no matter what you trade. You see, it's the institutional traders with very deep pockets. They're the ones that actually move price. And they look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Has everything to do with account size and the ability to hold positions overnight and for multiple days, even weeks at a time. So I encourage you, whether you trade futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets, all time frames. Spend 2 minutes with the daily chart. See what the deep pockets are doing and identify where the major areas of resistance. See, the high of yesterday, well, the step line's resistance, blue and climbing because it's directly above price, that's resistance. And then yesterday's high's resistance. But the next major spot for resistance is up here at 60.57. And we're trading here. So we had an initial attempt to pull back to the BBC here. And we made our pull back here very quickly. We tried to pull back here. And we're poised for that drop. And when I first looked at the charts this morning and saw that this was red, I thought, hey, maybe today's the day. Well, now maybe we linger a bit. It's like the market's waiting on something. I just don't know what it is. Okay, all alerts, the Logic 247 alerts and the Concierge Trade alerts. Oh, I never even went over those, did I? Huh. What do you know? All right. Let me fix that. Okay. Last night, the Concierge Trade alerts. That's our original alert service. We had that years and years before we had the Logic 247. My goal is to post the CTAs 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open each evening. So last night we did it. We got them out at 5:55 p.m. Eastern. The Wednesday session began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. So all of our members and all of our trial members had all of these targets 5 minutes ahead of the open. The S&P, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, and silver. Okay? Now it's important that I show you that so that I can explain this. These are those targets that were issued 5 minutes before the opening candle right here. Okay, so we opened and found support at the weekly trading zone. The vertical line here separates today Wednesday from Tuesday. Back here's Monday. Yesterday it just wasn't a fun day. But anyway, we found support. We spiked down in this one candle here and almost hit, what was the low? 26.75, and the zone's 24.25. Okay, so that's pretty close. The market found support, and if you'll take the time to go over here and look, you'll find out why. Sent price back up to the BBC, which we expect to be resistance. Remember, the pullback holds more often than not. So we get a retracement, and then we drop to this zone and find support, which bounces up to the BBC, resistance, which sends us down to consolidate right at the zone, and then we make a drop that takes us all the way to the short target and the weekly trading zone. We bounced off the zone and then took it out, and we finally found support right there. See, this week here, buyers came in. Now this would be considered an area of potentially good support. So buyers came in just a little bit early, ran it up to the VBC, the pullback held again, and then red and falling turned to blue and climbing, making blue and climbing support. It's bullish. Red is bearish, blue is bullish. And so up we go to the weekly zone overhead, where we're currently consolidating now for 1, 2, 3, 4 30-minute candles. Obstacles overhead are here, here, and then the long target. We could see that long target today. I don't know. From the daily perspective, there's a ton of pressure right here. So this thing could fold. Okay. If we get back below this zone, I would expect us to trade through the BBC, hit the short target, then come down and find some kind of support around these lows or even these lows. Okay, this is Monday. Okay, now these weekly zones, they're published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. We've published the zones for our members and trial members for almost 15 and a half years now. That's a long time. Now this green candle, remember this was a green candle all the way up, and it got stopped dead in its tracks right at that high right there. All right, well, close to it. Didn't quite make it there. First glance I thought it did. Anyway, you see my point. We got to take out this high, and then we run into this high and this high. So I don't know, we'll just have to see. It's not the best time to trade the ES at the moment, but it's your trading business, so do whatever you feel is proper. The Dow, let's look at that. All right. This was the opening candle last night. The first 30-minute candle opened. We're below the BBC, so we expect lower prices. The market finds support in an area where, well, if you look, this low is these two lows right here. But the spike would have had me looking, oh, here, where the short target is. See? See how that works? So we came to here, bounced back up to the BBC, the pullback held. Now that was resistance times 2. When we pull up to a weekly zone, we expect resistance. When we pull up to the BBC, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. And from there, down we go with red and falling all the way to the short target. We consolidate there for a few hours, and then we drop down to the next zone. Now these are the zones that were published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Now zones are an area, but we found support and bounced, found support, bounced all the way to the BBC, almost back to the zone. But the pullback held. Red and falling is turned to blue and climbing. So right now, price is trying to overcome the BBC. And it has the support of blue and climbing. So what could you trade here? 42,500 to 42,530. It's a high of that candle. 523. You could actually trade 42,490. 490 to 520. That would be 30 points. You only need 20 points to get your goal for the day. Russell, this was the open last night. We found support at the zone, bounced, ran into this resistance right here. That sent us back down. You see, we had a little flash of blue there, and then it quickly turned back to red. Lower prices is what we were looking for, and we got it. Okay, it's the short target. And then we continued lower. We got below that zone. Now we found support at this zone. Support will always send the market looking for resistance. Zone. Resistance will always send the market looking for support. Zone. BBC. Now red and falling is turning to blue and climbing. Now remember, I remarked earlier when I gave you the numbers from around the world that the Russell really had my attention, that it was down 1%. And the Dow was off considerably. So it's kind of a tricky session. If price gets above the BBC, you could trade 93 to 95, but you might want to wait and trade 97. I don't know, that's just a tough call. You know what? When it's that close, I don't fester over it because you'll start to see things that really aren't there. We all have vivid imaginations when it comes to trading, so I would just go look for something that is more obvious, simple and obvious. There's no easy, but there is simple. All right, the NQ opened, hit the zone and the target on the opening 30-minute candle. And remember, all members and trial members had these targets 5 minutes ahead of the open. So the NQ, this was a red candle all the way down to the target. By the time the 30-minute candle closed, we were back up to the zone. Now, we had a high here, a lower high here, a lower high here, and that took us down to the short target. We bounced, found resistance at the zone, continued to the next zone, and these lows right here is this low right here. Okay, so we get a bounce, and then we go down to the zone, pretty much to the tick. What's the low of this candle? 21,229. Okay, maybe not to the tick, but pretty close. Well, just a dash below it. Support sends us to resistance. The pullback holds. We get another leg to the downside. But red and falling turns to blue and climbing. And off the Wall Street Open, it's been nothing but higher, 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 higher for the NQ. Now this high right here is testing the high of yesterday. I would trade 21,570 to 21,580. That's $200 per contract traded. Crude oil. This was the open on gold last night. I mean, look at how this thing get ripped up through the target, through the zone, and then it retraced, came back down to earth, found support here, bounced into red and falling resistance, dropped to the zone and the BBC support. So we had an attempt at a rally that quickly failed. We hit the target and then we bounced back up one more time to the zone. And now we've traveled all the way down to the short target, which was based off this spot right here, where red turned to blue. Okay? And we hit it. And then we spiked it. And now we're just doing some wide-ranging consolidation at that zone. Gold. Here's the open last night. And this was, we ran up and we pulled back, and I think gold is about to turn and head lower. We haven't physically touched the long target or the short target, but there's plenty of opportunity to get your goal for the day. Well, just the opening candle alone opened at 32.93. Come on, we'll do it this way. 32.93 up to 33.07. From 93, that's $1,400 per contract traded. Now, getting out at the exact swing high, that's just luck, because you don't know that's going to be the swing high until after the fact. But anyway, plenty of opportunity in the first opening candle to get your goal. Now on the pullback, the market was pretty bullish because we didn't quite touch the BBC. So we get a leg and a retracement, and you see where the market found support, right at the zone. So we get another leg and a retracement and a leg, but we put in a lower high. See this high, lower high, lower high. That's why I think gold is in the process of rolling over. And you know, the best thing you could do Best thing I could do. You do what you want. This area right here. That's going to take patience, okay? But once price gets down to this area, 32.74 to 32.68, that's $600 per contract traded. And that's the best trade I think I've seen of all the markets we've looked at. All right, last but not least, silver. This was the open, but we had blue and climbing overhead. When blue and climbing gets directly above price, it quite often becomes resistance because it's on its way to becoming red and falling, which is bearish. And that's what happened. We kept banging our head up against blue and climbing. Now, it only takes 2 pennies to get your goal for the day with silver. So, open at 33.27 and a high at 33.33. That's $300 per contract traded, just in that little open candle right there. Pull back to the BBC and it held. Get a leg and a retracement. The pullback held. Hit the long target. A retracement. We spiked the BBC, we spiked the zone, but by the time it closed, look where we were. And now, this is a good day for silver. We're up about 1.5%. So, I hope all of you got some of that. And I believe Michael is here. Yeah. All right. You can do your thing.
Okay, here we go.
Michael's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room, do some live trading on the TradingView platform. I'll come back at the end and wrap things up with our good word for the day.
All right, change my name. Get ready to go.
Okie doke. Your charts look good.
Good, thank you. All right, here we go. Yeah. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 21st of May, 2025. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go ahead to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button right here. There is no credit card required for the trial. Just click on that purple button. And when you click on the purple button, it's going to bring you to this registration page where all that we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. All the way down here at the bottom, gives you TradingView login ID. Okay, if you don't have TradingView yet, click on this link right here to get TradingView and give us the login ID. Once you do that, we'll enable the indicators for you. Get your indicators indicating, give you all the information you need to get into the room and start trading with us in the morning. Okay, so today was an okay day. It wasn't a great day. It was our lowest day of the week so far, but still, we're on target to hit 20,000 by the end of the month, and that's what I wanted to do. All right, we have now 4, 5, 6 business days left, and we're at 14.9. So I think we'll be able to do that. That's last month we had almost twice that, 1.5, 1.75 times that. Anyway, that's the goal. So today, as I said, is the 21st day of May, 2025. We only got 39 ticks on the NQ, 27 ticks. Didn't get any on the Russell. I had one trade that went about 30 ticks, and I had my stop. I was ready to drop it at plus 20, and my mouse didn't work when I tried to drop it. And so we came all the way back down and got me a break even. We had 27 ticks on gold, 26 ticks on the ES. So that put us at 790 this morning. Today, I started out with a mistake on the NQ. I stopped out on that mistake, minus 60 ticks. So it took us a few minutes and a few trades to get the goal for the day. It took 17 minutes and 7 trades this morning to get to $1,100 with 10 contracts on. We took a total of 21 trades today. 7 trades to get to the goal. So we're at $110 a contract at that point. And then another 14 trades got us another $680 a contract. So it worked out okay. So on the month now we're at 14,957, averaging 1,068 per day. And on the year we're at 134,775, averaging 1,567 per day. Now, if you were to quit trading when you get the goal for the day and you were to add 1 contract per month, so far this year you've only had to work 11.08 hours. You would have averaged $3,741 per hour, and you would be up $41,472 bucks. If you did it just like me, and you quit trading when you hit the goal for the day, and you had one contract per month, you'd be at 5 contracts right now, and yeah, you're doing really well. All right, the actual trades. Let's get into them. Most of our trades today were on gold. Let's just do the Russell first because I only have one little thing on the Russell I got to show you. There it was. Break even right there. That one went all the way up there and came all the way back down. And I ended up with a break even. So I get in here, and it really, my target was 45 ticks, so it must have went like 44 ticks and not hit my target, and then come all the way back down and got me out of break even. Sad. But the next opportunity I didn't get was right in here, and after that there was one right in here. Actually, there wasn't a very good one right in here because this didn't make it up into the overbought. We didn't want to take that. And then you had one during the break right here that you could have taken. That, you would have been drawn from here to here. It wouldn't have been a great trade to take right there because you had barely enough to get to the swing high to get you stop to break even. And right now you're in the same kind of stuff right here. Now you could do an aggressive trade right here on the Russell. Do an aggressive long trade right here, anticipating it's going to get back up to the top because that's all you're doing right now is this channel chop. Let me draw it for you. This is what you got stuck in right here. This channel chop where it's going from the bottom to the top and back down to the bottom. So I did just take that and throw my stop at break even on this. And we'll see what it does. It should go up to the top right up here. We're pretty close to the top. Okay. I'll let you know what it does if it takes me out of break even. It looks like it's going to, but it hasn't yet. That was the Russell today. The next least one we had was the NQ. It did just take me out of break even. On the NQ, we only had a handful of trades there today. We had the one that I messed up right at the very beginning, right here. That was a mistake. I shouldn't have taken that trade. And I did anyway, and it stopped me out minus 60 ticks. Then I had a break even there, break even there. That means each one of those went 20 ticks, right? 20 ticks to break even, 20 ticks to break even. And then this one, I finally picked up a little bit on that. We went from 60 to minus, we went from minus 60 to minus 23 on that one. Then we went from minus 23 to plus 17 on that one. And then went from plus 17 to plus 39 on that one. And that was it for the NQ. We talked through a whole bunch of trades in here, but none of them were really good for taking. This right here, let me redraw it so you can see how it should have been drawn after I put that in right there. Okay, should have been drawn like that. Okay, from there to there. So there was really nothing really good in here. You could have taken, like, there was nothing good in here at all to take. There was nothing good to take in all that. If you go all the way over here, then you could draw, see where it came out of the oversold right there. Draw from the low over there. Oops, I dropped it. Draw from the low over there where it came out of the oversold to the high before it went back into the oversold, which would put it right here. That would make this a pretty good spot for a trade right here. The up close right there, or even the down close right there. The up or down close right there. The aggressive trade there or the conservative trade there. Either one of those would have been good enough to at least get the stop to break even. You know, it's a 47 range bar, so it looks like it went about 30 ticks into profit before it pulled back down. Just flipped the YBR right here. So right now we have what is called the bugle. Okay. That is a new low and a new high. It's a bugle. So this area right here is what it should pull back up to and bounce off of right now. But that was it for the NQ for us today. We were plus 39 on the NQ this morning. Plus 39 on the NQ this morning. Now we're in the overbought and we're not anywhere near that level. So it's going to have to flatten out, get 2 more up closes maybe, and then a down close from this area. Be a flat spot up here at the top. Okay. The ES has a similar thing going on here, except this one is going to be from up here. Let me just get rid of that and draw a fresh one. Okay. From where it came out to where it went back in. So this is what the ES is looking like. It's this big range right here. Right. That's not a good place to take a trade right there. This is not a good place to take a trade right here. They'll probably both work out, but they're not good places to take a trade. Right, so now I guess we'll do the ES next, and then we'll go to gold. Fine, the last one will be on gold. Okay, last one we look at. So the ES today, we had our first trade here on the ES, we picked up 8 ticks. Then the next trade, we picked up 4 more to get us to 12. This is what I was suggesting it was going to get up to, and it did gap up to there, way over here. And after that, we had, wait, there's something missing in here, because we went, oh, I'm sorry, that was gold. We went from 8 to 12, then 12 over here to 22. Right there, we went to 22, so we got 10 there. Then we went from 22 to 30, we had 8 more there, and we stopped out minus 10, that put us down to 20, and then we got 6 right there that put us at 26. And that is where we ended the trading for the morning session. Okay, this right here is not a good spot to take a trade. The gold is the final thing that we have. Let me get the question box out. I didn't have it out. Okay, nobody's asked any questions yet. Good. Let me see who's in here today. Bart, you entered anything backwards? That's funny. Okay. So gold. All right, on the gold. So far, I'm sorry, right here. The first trade here, we got plus 10. Then the next trade here, we got another 10 that put us at 20. And then this trade right here is where we got the gold for today. We got 11 on that one that put us at 31 on the gold. So that coupled with the ES8 tick and the stop out, the 66 stop out on the NQ got us to $110 a contract. All right, but at that point we were at 31. Then we had a decent trade there, got us to 49. Then we had a stop out that put us down to 34. We had a little wind, got us to 36. Then another stop out got us down to 21. Then a little wind there got us to 26, and another little wind right there got us to 27, and that is where we ended it right there. Let's see. During the break, well, we're below the YBR right here. You're looking from here down to right there. So there to there is what you'd be looking at. Pure retracement, that was a good spot to take a trade, even though it didn't work out very well. It would have been a good spot to take an aggressive trade right there. It went all the way up here and didn't really give you anything there. It came back here, pulled all the way back here. Now, this is your leg length. From here, actually from here up to here. From here to here would have been your leg length. From here up to here would have been your leg length. And it did 100% retracement and then some. So then this is your new leg length, and this is a retracement right here of that leg length. Let me get rid of this so it's not deceiving. Yeah, just get out of the way. I'll just reuse it. Okay. That to that. That is what you were looking at. So when it pulled back right here, you could have been a little bit aggressive right here, or waited for the conservative trade where it came out. They were sold right there. That would have been okay to take, and then that would have put this up here like that. 100% retracement. Didn't get anything. It switched down to this side, and at this point, you would be drawing from here. Be drawing from right here all the way down to here. All right. So this right here was a great spot to trade. You really didn't get a trade set up there until the second drop out of there, so it wouldn't have been a valid trade, but it was a good spot to trade. Right now, if you use this is the high, right now we just went into the whole bugle thing again. Right? We got a higher high, and you have a lower low. So this area right in here should become our level of support on that. Okay, now I just drew one of those over on the NQ and see what happened with that. Okay, but that's what's looking like on gold right now. We ended up with plus 27 on gold. All right, the NQ didn't pull back deep enough to hit that level, but now we have a new level. All right, it did pull back, but it didn't pull back to there. It pulled back about 25% instead of 50%. And it does that often. But this is the new level. Sorry, let me draw it this way. That's what you're looking at now. Okay. All right. But what is the purpose use of the YBR? It gives you trend. When you're below it, you're looking for shorting opportunities. When you're above it, you're looking for buying opportunities. Okay, it just gives you the trend. That's all. All right, so what we're looking for now, this is moved down to there. Okay, so far. And this has gone up a little bit further. So let's look at the gold right here. The gold has become one of our, well, this month anyway, it is our major market so far. We've gained the most. It's been one where we've made the most money consistently. If you go here and you look in gold, we have $6,370 right now, 3,800 there and 3,600 there. The NQ has been taking a back seat lately. Ever since I didn't trade it here when it got really wild when the tariffs happened, I kind of been kicking it to the curb a little bit because it's, I don't know, it's trading really thin and it's just not giving me the warm fuzzy feeling I used to get all the time trading that thing. Okay, so you see we have many things that just happened right here. Now this one is a new spot to draw from because we went into the overbought. It's right there. Right, so right here on an up close on this bar would be a good spot to short that aggressively on the ES. Okay, and up close on that bar, I'm going to short it. Let's get a low here of 30.25, so it'd be right there at 32.25. Okay, see that's a limit order that I just put there. There, okay, so it closed up at that spot and then the limit order right there. That was an aggressive short right there at the 50% retracement. I'll take that trade every time I see it. Okay. And it stopped me out, but that's okay. That one stopped me out, but I'll still take that trade every time I see it. Okay, that was an aggressive stop out right there. You didn't end up getting the same trade over here on this. You would have brought this down to here, but still not the same trade. Okay, you see that we're below the YBR, so we're only looking for short hand opportunities. Below, above over here, so you're looking for long. Below here, below here, below here.
Hey, when you get a chance,
Yes.
question. Elmino wants to know USA Tech 100 up or down. I've asked him a couple times for the symbol, but he hasn't provided a symbol yet. He or she, I don't know.
I don't know what that is. USA Tech. You mean overall tech like the NQ?
No, here's what he gave me. USA Tech, all one word, 100. Probably, when
let me see if that's a symbol.
Done.
Let's see if that's even a valid symbol here. Go out here to this NQ, the SPY. Go to the NQ out here. We already have an NQ. USA Tech 100. We don't have one of those. There it is, USA TEC 100. This is what he's talking about, the cash index right here.
You can't trade a cash index.
Nope. But overall, from what perspective is he looking at it on? It's $21,000, so it's nothing you're going to do here.
I think he typed the question in and then went away. because I can't get him to respond to me in the chat. So,
Okay. Well, it's not something you do on a small time frame. It's something you do on a larger time frame, because it's 21,000 bucks. So let's just look at it from this perspective. Okay, we'll look at it on the 30-minute chart. Give it a 30-minute look. All right. So right now, I would say it's going to pull back down to right here and then bounce. That's what I would say. Why right there?
that looks reasonable.
Yep. Why right there? Well, start from here to here. Right. We'll go up there. And then look left on this. Just extend this whole thing a little bit left. All this support and resistance is acted as in the past. This is the midpoint where it should pull back down to and bounce off of this right here. This is over in the oversold already. So if this bar closes down, it's gonna make a flat spot. Actually, it won't. If this bar closes down, then it'll be down here in the oversold. So it'd be a great opportunity to be aggressive and buy it if this bar closes down in 15 minutes or 14 minutes. Right, that would be a perfect buy-in spot right there on the down close of this bar. That's what I'd be thinking. It'd be something like this right here, where it did the same thing right over here, where this bar closed down, went into the oversold right here, right at the midpoint right there. Be something just like that. Okay. So if he's watching, then that's my analysis on that. I'd be looking for a down close. Now, we still have 14 minutes left in this bar. If we did it on a 15-minute bar, you might have a different look, but it's going to be pretty similar, I think. Yeah, there's a 15-minute bar. So this is your new 15-minute bar. If you do it on a 5-minute bar, it should have a similar look too. But on a 5-minute, yeah, same thing here. The 5 minutes just a lot closer. So now when this bar closes in 4 minutes, it's going to flip the YBR probably when it closes in 4 minutes. But because it's already in the oversold, you'd want to wait for the up close of the next bar. So this bar closes in 4 minutes. You're going to have a pretty good spot for it to land right here. And then I would look for a bounce up off of this. The next bar, if it closes up, that's where I'd be going long. Right, and up close on the next bar is where I'd be going long. Okay, so all three of those time frames that I just looked at were all saying basically the same thing. It's a spot to buy. Not right now, but in a minute. Well, in a few minutes. One of them saying in 14 minutes. One of them saying, yeah, two of them are saying 14 minutes. The 15-minute and 30-minute both end at the bottom of the hour. But the 5 minutes saying, when this bar here closes in 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes. When this bar closes, the next bar, if it closes up and takes this out of the oversold, that's where I'd be going long. And my stop in that case would be below wherever this bar closes. Okay, see, it's gone all the way down there. That was a big push down right there. Now, you're not, in this case right here, you're not going to be just buying the open of the next bar. You want to wait until the next bar finishes, it closes. Right, the next bar closes and you want an up close on the next bar. If you don't get an up close on the next bar, then it's no trade. That is what I would say.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay. And let's go back here to my little world, my happy place. Just for futures contracts. Okay. And oops, I didn't mean to draw that.
You did see Bitcoin put in new all-time highs today, right?
I did not see that.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at cryptos at all. Yeah, let me look at it. It's easy to look at. Let me look at it on my phone. I got it all in one place here on my phone.
Yeah, I hit 109,000.
Sweet. And that's good stuff. Yeah, there it is right there. Bitcoin 108,575 right now. Ethereum's up to 2,500. XRP's up to 239. Stellar 29. Algorand 23. Chainlink 16. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so this right here is a pretty good spot to short the ES right there aggressively. Again, let me draw it in. You might want to wait for the conservative trade on that because it's too late to do it aggressively. But what I was looking at was this right here. Okay, so the aggressive one would have been in here. But now the conservative one, you're going to have to wait for it to come out of the oversold. And now we're at 100% retracement, so a drop from here would be a good spot to short that. It's 1375 down to right there at 1175. There it is. I just shorted it right there. conservative short coming out of the overbought. Now stop's going to break even. Stop's going to plus 4 anyway. There we go. Now plus 12, plus 16, plus 20. Oops, that's not 20, that's 19. And we're out. We actually hit the target on that. Actually hit our 30 tick target on that. So just nailed that one right there, from there all the way down there, 30 ticks. So we stopped out on that one for minus 10, and then we just picked up 30 on that, or plus 20 overall in this session.
Good job.
I don't know why the sky's falling here, but I'm glad in a sense, because it's doing what we wanted it to do in here.
We're so overdue for a pullback to the VVC.
We are.
And maybe when I opened the broadcast with that comment that this might be the move we've been waiting on. So yep. We shall see.
We shall see. And if it does do what I drew in here yesterday, the day before, we get a down day here that brings us down to about here, and then next day brings us here, and it gives us a wick that goes down and smacks that. By Friday afternoon, we do have high impact news coming out tomorrow and Friday. And by Friday afternoon, we could have another big Sunday, but in the opposite direction, like we had, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
We had that big move down. We could have that same thing happen again on Sunday, but in the opposite direction. Because I'm figuring by the end of next week, we should be up to about this place up here. I have that at 27 May. Yeah, so about the end of next week.
Texas just passed the strategic Bitcoin reserve bill in the House, sending it to the governor for approval.
Well, I would think that should be.
That's pretty bullish.
Yep.
Also, the Bitcoin has overtaken Amazon and Google to become the 5th biggest asset in the world. Number one's gold.
What's the biggest?
Number one's gold. Number 2 is Microsoft. Number 3 is Nvidia. Number 4 is Apple. Number 5 is Bitcoin. Coming in at number 6 is Amazon, and number 7, Alphabet, Google.
Good stuff. Interesting times.
Incredible, yeah.
These are the good old days.
I love that show. You know what show I'm talking about, right? Archie Bunker?
Yeah.
Those were the
All in the
days,
family.
my friend. We thought they'd never end. Edith and what was? I know the son-in-law was Meathead, but Archie. I just already said it. Archie. Yeah.
Archie.
Silly.
All right. So let's look at this. This is where you're drawing from right here down to here. So I'd really rather see an up close on this bar right here, and then a down close on the next bar on the ES. Because it would have been drawn from here down to there. Worked out anyway. And that's what I would have liked. And so now it's different now. It's going from here to here. Okay. It's already come out, so it's too late to do anything right now. You probably get that deeper retracement right now. We just had a big move down on everything except gold. Gold went the opposite way, which is good. Shut that off. It is 124. So something happened to my computer during the break. I had left the house and came back, and my computer was all the way off. Makes me wonder. Something got reset. It says it shuts off automatically instead of going to sleep. Because it wouldn't wake back up unless I pressed the button.
Well, there's a new Windows update out there. In fact,
yeah.
One of my computers just wanted to update, and I told it to no, wait till Saturday.
That's probably what it is. You're probably right. I'll have to check that out because it did update on me last night. I thought it was Jada. I thought she just pressed the button and shut it off. I turned it on this morning.
I never turn mine off.
I don't usually either. I let it sleep. because it's got all those fancy lights and everything inside it, and that, you know, I don't like that in the dark. I wish I knew how to shut those off, but I don't. Those lights that are on the fans, you know.
Camille, I just responded to your post on YouTube in the chat. If you have any questions or anything, just type them in and we'll be happy to answer them for you. And before we're done, Michael will show you how you can take our 1 week free trial, no credit card required. So
I will.
We'd love
I
to
will do that.
get to know you. You can join us
So
for
look, I
5
did
days
100.
for free in the live training room with access to everything we offer.
Did 100% retracement on the 5 minute. You know, the other two were saying look for it was at a great place to bounce at the bottom of the hour is a great place to bounce, but now it's going to be 100% retracement on the others as well. 100% retracement. So what this means, if it goes down even further right now, what that means is now it'll still be a buying opportunity, but you'll be going against the trend right here. You're going to buy into a selling opportunity is what it's going to do. Okay. So if you're watching right now, the person who asked that a little while ago.
I don't think he is. He never responded back to me.
Okay. Well, what I would expect now this has got the bugle, right? The 3 different types of chop, right? I talked about that a few minutes ago. You have channel chop, triangle chop, and the bugle chop. We're in bugle chop right now. We have higher highs and lower lows. So we're in bugle chop. So that means the middle of this leg right here, whenever that leg finishes, is going to be the turning point. So it's going to act as resistance, but it's going to be something the market's going to trade back up toward. Now, because it's such a big leg, it might only do 25% and not 50% at the beginning. But right now you're looking at this right here. And you still have the same middle point. It's in the same place. It's just we did 100% retracement instead of a 50% retracement. So you're still looking at this right here, right now. If at the bottom of the hour, this is still a buying opportunity here. All right. It's still a buying opportunity. But I wouldn't expect it to get all the way up here above that. It's a buying opportunity into a selling opportunity. I would say you can buy it here. And when it gets up to this area right here, which is half of that leg up, I would expect it might find some resistance there. And then when it gets here, I would expect it's going to stop and go down again. That's what it looks like to me. Okay. So once this bar closes down here in a couple of minutes, I would expect it's going to go up to here, maybe find a little resistance right in here. Now you won't see that on a 15-minute candle or on a 30-minute candle. You probably won't see that in here. You might see it go up and down, just move around a little bit right inside the candle. But on the smaller time frame, you'll see it go sideways a couple of candles in here. If you go on like the 5-minute or the 2-minute or 1 minute, you'll see several candles right in this area, I think. And then it's going to probably shoot up to here and find resistance and then go down and exceed the swing low. That's what I would think. Now that it's done this part, that's what I would think it'll do. But you don't know. You got to trade what's in front of you, right?
Yep. Do we have any trades setting up at all?
Do we? Let's go back and look. Sorry. I just got totally distracted about that.
Yeah, that guy's gone, I think.
Yeah. Well, we are up overall on the session anyway. Good trades.
Someone just asked how long have we been trading? I spoke for myself. I said 2005. Damn, that's when I was born. So
I've been trading since 1981.
He said it's real complex and he's trying to wrap his head around it. So I offered him an invitation to come take the trial.
Yeah. Okay. Let me show you how to take the trial because it's time right now.
We can get to know you and help you figure out whether or not trading is right for you.
Yes, because this might not be your bag. But here, let me show you how to do it. All right. You go here to mytradingiq.com. That's mytradingiq.com. Click on this purple button right here. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on the purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration page. On this page, all that we really need is your name, your email, your phone number. Down at the bottom, give us your TradingView login ID. If you want to have the indicators indicating on your desktop, go down to the bottom and give us your TradingView login ID. If you don't have one of those, click this link right here and get one. Okay, watch this video. Click on this. And this is a free trial. You got to sign up for it. Make sure you click monthly. It's a free trial. Get the essential, that'll give you 2 charts. If you want more than 2 charts, get the plus, that'll give you 4 charts. That's what I use in the room in the morning. But it's a free trial for a month. And then you got to get data. You got to get real-time data, right? If you don't have one of their brokers hooked up, you got to get real-time data. And to get the real-time data, you just need to go here. This is the ID that you need to send to us. Whatever you hover over your icon, for us, it's this one. For you, it might be here in the middle, but it's still going to be whatever it says you're logged in as. To get the data, you go to account and billing. Hang on, let me save this. Go to account and billing, and the data is $7 a month. You're going to have to pay that if you want to run along with us in the room in the morning. You're going to have to pay that $7.
If you want real-time data, yeah.
Yeah, and that is the one that you need.
But the most important thing is to click that purple button, so once you get into the room, you can ask questions and we can explain things to you, and
yes,
we'll help you get your trading view set up if you need to do that. Find out what broker you're using so we can help walk you through that.
Yes, this is the most important thing. Go here to mytradingview.com, click on the purple button. No credit card required. Do that part.
And while you're on the trial, you'll be able to talk with our other traders that have been with us for a very long time. So,
yes, it is. It is a group environment. All right, well, that's it. I guess I can pass it back out to you. Fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking the South Mountain. America's largest city park.
Okie doke. Alrighty. Recap of the morning session.
Today it took 17 minutes and 7 trades to get to $1,100.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, we have covered all the markets. Here's the daily again. Aha, here comes that pullback. We talked about it at the beginning of the broadcast. Could it get here today? It could. It might take till tomorrow, but that's where it's heading. Now things are starting to look right. There's the 30-minute. Here's the Dow again real quick. Oh my goodness. The Dow is just crumbling. Russell, same thing. Remember, guys, at the beginning of the broadcast, I said, what I'm seeing on the Russell, I think, is going to carry over to all the other markets. And that doesn't happen every time, but it always gets my attention. Okay? So, one last look at the daily. And to become a member, go to mytradingiq.com. Watch the videos, read the content, and when you're ready to actually join, send an email to support@cfrn.net. Just tell us you want to become a member. We'll send you all the information you need. And when you're ready to make a decision, there's a link in that email that you can click to seal the deal. Now, the email that you're going to get, it explains everything it means to become a passport holder. The first thing, 2 hours of live training every trading day in an interactive environment. Michael's taking off trades, explaining every move he makes, every trade he takes, and the reason why. You are watching, listening, trading along in your demo account, and asking every question that pops into your head. That's what I mean by an interactive environment. You could watch videos of Mark Spitz swimming for 5 years. But if you don't know how to swim, when you get in the pool, you're going to just sink like a rock. Okay? You got to actually get in the water. As Bert likes to say, you got to push the buttons. So that's why you trade in your demo account until you put together 10 consecutive days in a row where you reach your goal in 10 trades or less before you even think about trading real money. We do not want to see you blow up another account. Just the opposite. Now, along with 2 hours of group training every trading day in live markets in real time, you also get private one-on-one mentoring, the strategy you learn, the indicators that you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Stocks, futures, crypto, Forex, ETF, it doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all time frames. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. That's why it's so important that you learn how to read the chart, so that you can look at any chart of any market and know instinctively where to anticipate resistance, where to anticipate support, and in doing so, you uncover the windows of opportunity that exist in between those very important points. Okay? As a passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. You get the concierge trade alerts every evening the second they're published. Monday morning, you get the weekly trading zones at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They do not change in any way whatsoever. You'll be able to attend the members-only workshop every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. And you'll get the golden key that opens all the private channels in Telegram. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. Okay, ball's in your court. Let's wrap it up with our good word for the day. You can learn to love. Philippians 2:4. Don't look out only for your own interest, but take an interest in others too. You can learn to love by thinking loving thoughts, by focusing on the other person's needs, pains, difficulties, goals, and desires, not just your own. The old saying goes, it's easier to understand someone when you walk a mile in their shoes. Hurting people tend to hurt other people. If someone is hurting you, that person may be doing so because they are hurting. How can you love them? By looking beyond their faults and seeing their needs. The least lovable people are the ones who need love the most. The people we would prefer to ignore are the very ones who need huge doses of love. If a person can't find love, they will seek attention. And if they can't obtain positive attention, they will work at attracting negative attention. Unintentionally, they are saying, I'll be noticed one way or another. Make love the master of your will, not the slave of your emotions. We can't change our feelings, but we can change our thoughts. When we change how we think about someone, we will steadily change our feelings about that person. When, rather than thinking about a person's faults, we start thinking about their needs, it will change the way we feel. Now, you might say, if I act lovingly towards someone I don't even like, wouldn't that be hypocritical? No. It's called loving by faith. When you love by faith, you act yourself into feeling the right way towards that person. Try it. Find out for yourself. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.